going to the grocery store, you're not thinking that when I'm
Yeah.
buying this, it's
There's
harmful.
trust. There's an unwritten trust for
Right.
sure.
And unfortunately, we shouldn't do that. But if you are not taking this on
Mhm.
and acknowledging and eliminating the toxic exposure from everyday products and habits, you will not thrive. I
Right.
guarantee it. Like, because this stuff is getting locked away in our fat tissue. The body's amazing. There's a foreign substance, so it keeps it away from the organs and pushes it into the fat tissue. So then women go, why can't I get rid of this weight? Because your
Mhm.
body sometimes is full of toxins and it's
Yeah.
dangerous for the body to get rid of.
I am beyond thrilled to finally get you here. You and I chatted a little bit via Instagram and you were filming Down to Earth this past year. Were you doing all of that?
Yeah,
When
it came out, but that was already 2 years ago.
was it
Yeah,
really that you were filming? Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Gosh.
And it's just a process to get it
Yeah.
all on air, and there's just so many things that go into production.
Yes.
It's a miracle things actually get in on the air, right?
Right.
And get produced, and you realize there's a lot that goes on to it, and you have to have a good team.
Yeah.
And this was certainly, we had a lightning in a bottle with this one for
Yeah.
sure.
It's an incredible show, and I've been able to sit down with my kids,
Mm,
with the first season and then a pause and then so much excitement around the second season, which for me, my kids are right now they're getting ready to turn 13 and 15. So
mm,
having watched season 1 when they were a little bit younger was so impactful because first of all, my daughter's, like, who are these guys? Like, I think I recognize them. So there was a cool factor, but
right.
then there's also just opening up their eyes to so many things around the
Mm,
world that,
mm.
kids, we just need their eyes open to them for sure.
Yeah, and one thing that was really clear for us was highlighting great people
Hmm.
and solutions to some of the issues in the world. And you
Yeah.
can't go after all of it because it's impossible, and it
Right.
takes an army and it takes many solutions. But certainly being able to highlight from health perspective to the environment perspective to the incredible ingenuity to a lot of people, that was kind of the ethos. and
Yeah.
and and let's not hang out and let's face problems, but
Right.
let's innovate and create and illuminate and expand and bring attention to what we can do,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're great.
Yeah.
Humanity's great
Absolutely.
when we come together with
Yeah.
those ideas and that possibility and hope. And so yeah, it's been a nice journey for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of the journey,
Mm,
y- I'm so curious because you are involved in so many different things and you've accomplished and done so much in your life up until this point. Where did this all begin? Because I don't think I've ever heard like the origin story of Darin Olien.
mm.
Can you share that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how granular you want to get, but I have to, I can't I always try to bypass this point. But it was told to me about me from
Mm,
my father, and that was, I really believe this at the core of my being, that I was born 2 months early. It was
mhm.
in 1970. There was a 50-50 chance of dying,
Yeah.
and they thought I was going to for a moment. And then my father tells the story, and this was a spontaneous moment before he passed away. Not like on his deathbed or anything, but like maybe a month or two before he eventually passed away. He went into this spontaneous thing of, like, he saw for him this moment where I chose life.
Mm,
And then throughout my life, he
mm,
kept putting those things together. Like, every time I would get hit with adversity and
yeah.
challenge and struggle, because that that premature kid
Hmm.
definitely had some catching up to do.
Right.
And so we all have our challenge story. That's what life, that's literally what life is, to
Mhm.
cultivate the truth. And some of that causes pain and suffering and reinvention. And so along that path, there was always kind of struggle that I had to overcome.
Yeah.
And so my dad kind of went into that whole story and kind of tied it all together for me,
Yeah.
which is great because I think when you can own who you are and where you came from,
Mm.
and not run from the shadow, but look at the shadow and understand that that was the catalyst,
Yeah. That
so quickly kind of fast forward, playing college football, super stoked to kind of beat out all these guys that on paper should have beat me, but
yeah.
I was just not gonna I was just not gonna let that happen. But then my first kind of game, I had a career-ending back injury,
It
and then
seems like
that
it happens all too often.
yeah, I don't even
It's
think we got
crazy.
the greatest of the greatest because a lot how do you know
Right.
those people didn't, they just didn't make it. So,
Right.
um, so, that challenge and that kind of stopping moved me into physiology and
Mhm.
nutrition and kinesiology and studying all of that. And that was sparked something. And then that curiosity just continued along that path. And then always had mentors, always had
Yeah.
older people and doctors and researchers and shamans and
Yeah.
like literally along the way of luminaries that some of which I don't even like I every so often I'll run into somebody that knows certain. I mean, I was diving into crazy strange technologies
Yeah.
25 years ago of
Wow.
just being into rooms going, wait a minute, like what? Like frequency and magnetics and
Yeah.
health and you know, understanding that electrolytes were conductors. It wasn't
Yeah.
just physical material that, and then this medium of water
Mhm.
operated radically different than anything we know. Like it's redefining regular physics and it's kind of looking like quantum physics and it's
Yeah.
react so it's like that's
Crazy.
us.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's kind of my mind always got blown open. And so I've been forever in the space of health and I continue to study. And that eventually through the travels, the heavy travels, and seeing, horrible conditions of
Yeah.
people, not having water and power and
Right.
food. And like, how is this possible? How is
How is
as a
it possible?
human? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like how is it?
I was just on a mission trip like 3 weeks ago, and
Mm,
how on our planet are there people still without functional living situations when it comes to, sanitation and water? It blows my mind.
yeah, I
Blows my
mean,
mind.
and we're not talking a handful. We're talking
Right.
2 to 3 billion people.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we failed. Let's just like own it. We
Right.
failed as a human family,
Right.
and so that's just not okay.
Mm-mm.
And not to and then with this book, The Fatal Conveniences, I was so all these worlds started connecting. I'm looking at research and products, and I'm like, okay, why are all these products in the aisles of our stores today
Mhm.
knowingly being sold when they know that these chemicals are causing harm?
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is an absolute failure. So again, I'm like,
Yeah.
as a human, as a person, as a steward for this world, how is this acceptable?
Right.
It's not. And so, FCC, FDA, USDA, EPA, you name it, no regulatory body is not compromised in
Right.
some way. So I'm like, okay, I don't need to run around make them wrong. They're not right, but I don't need to spend too much time. They're just not
Right.
doing their
Fighting the
job.
fight. Right.
Yeah. So it's like you look at the science. The science
Yeah.
is showing this is dangerous. It's not me making it up. It's here.
Yeah.
So now what can we do about it? Right.
Right.
So like, yeah, you have to face it. or else you just bury your head in the sand.
Yeah.
Let's face this: when you have disposable diapers that are made of petroleum, and all these other endocrine disrupting chemicals and many other more, you don't put an endocrine disrupting chemical on a baby.
Yeah.
And now we know that from parabens to phthalates to forever chemicals, which is a class of gnarly chemicals that bioaccumulate, all of this is in the blood
Mm.
of moms, of children, in the umbilical cords. So it's not to get everybody down right now. But what I'm saying is, unless we want to be okay with being chemicalized and
Right.
having getting neutered to a certain extent, because that's what the data shows, that
Right.
men's motility won't exist. Like it's
Wow.
going away. And this is
Wow.
from great researchers who
Yeah.
spend their life studying this stuff. One great friend, Dr. Leo Trusande, wrote an amazing book on endocrine disruption. And it's like, we're just trying to sound the alarm. This isn't okay. So we, as a people, as Americans, as human family, as anyone, we need to take responsibility. So
Yeah.
what I want to do is kind of shake that up a little bit. Going,
Mhm.
listen, these aren't safe.
Yeah.
I don't know
Illuminate it.
why.
Like you said,
Yeah,
illuminate it for the world. Yeah.
I don't know why exactly, but I would guess
There's money
pro-
involved. Yeah.
profits and power,
Yeah.
unfortunately, have garnered more power than the
Mhm.
safety that they should have. So let's just do the right thing. So there's great companies, there's great things, there's great initiatives going on out there. Let's support that. And so as
Mhm.
a human family, if I can buy something that's healthy and life-giving to my child, my
Right.
family, my friends, then let's do that. And so that attention diverted from that which is destructive
Mhm.
is then of massive value, because you know what we have? We have people on our side. We have the
Mm.
numbers,
Yeah.
right? So people, I really want to turn on the common sense of people again,
Yeah.
because I think apathy has become a disease,
Mm.
right? In the sense that you don't expect to go into a grocery store or a drugstore. You're not thinking that when I'm
Yeah.
buying this, it's
There's
harmful.
trust. There's an unwritten trust for
Right,
sure. Yeah.
right. And unfortunately, we shouldn't do that,
Right.
right?
Well, and
Because
I love that you come at it from such a, I don't want to say a positive place, but it's like a place of love,
yeah,
and illuminating the good and illuminating the bad, but not coming at it from this combative, negative,
oh,
just your energy around it
mm,
is so beautiful. And the book that's coming out, that it's called, tell me the title.
fatal conveniences.
So I got to ask you, because I'm like, that packs a punch, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like, the second I heard that, I was like, this is reality. This is a thing. This makes so much common sense, just like you
yeah,
said.
yeah,
But it's like, hindsight's 2020. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even wrap my head around the fact that I've been so naive to trust.
yeah.
Was fatal conveniences, did you make, is that your term? Because it's so spot on and so damn good.
Yeah, it was given to me about 25 years ago by an unbelievable friend and researcher, Dr. Mohsen Hormanish. He would often have to make up words to describe what he was saying, because he was looking at he'd look at things like energy versus synergy.
Mm,
Energy is one thing. Energy can be very destructive.
yeah,
Synergy is synergistic to
right,
all living matter. So in the wordology, when you talk to him, he would have to describe his vocabulary before he could actually talk to you about what he
right.
wants to talk to you about,
Yeah.
right? So spending a lot of time with him and all these cool rooms with incredible minds. He was the first one. He was talking about the cell phone. And he
Mm,
goes, that cell phone's a fatal convenience. It's amazing technology, but that is affecting your electromagnetic field of your body
yeah,
and the electromagnetic field of the DNA and the RNA, because that's all electric. The
yeah,
DNA is sending the signal to the RNA, and the RNA then has to tell the proteins, the amino acids, how to construct themselves in order to
mm,
replace and to create your skin, your nails, your body, your organs, all of that stuff. And so if
crazy.
that's disrupted,
Yeah.
and I was just going, "Oh my god."
Oh,
And at a certain point I was like, I trust him, but I'd
right.
start reading the research. This was 25 years ago.
Wow.
And now, in this book, I get into EMFs, and there is so much research supporting and rats and everything else of that very thing. So
Yeah.
when you're around all this electromagnetic pollution, it is absolutely disrupting the field, and it's disrupting. So yeah, gliomas, tumors showing up in
Yeah.
the brains, the data of a cell phone going all the way through a child's brain,
Yeah.
like because a child's so underdeveloped. So
Right.
anyway, that Dr. Mosen, that yeah, because that's a huge topic, but Dr. Mosen gave me that term.
Yeah. I love it. I love it so much. And it just makes, I mean, we can dumb it down to the simple fact that, when healthy people get sick with whatever the
Mm,
diagnosis is these days, and people think, how could they,
right.
end up with this? And I'm thinking, how can we not all end up with this at
Yeah.
some point in time? And, it can seem, even for me, somebody that's been in the health and wellness world my whole life, I've been passionate about it, like you, since a child. And, it can seem paralyzing, though.
Mm,
Absolutely paralyzing, that like every single thing we're touching or consuming or using to function in the world has this huge detriment to our health.
mm,
So in the book, do you, like, where do we start? Where
yeah.
does the average Joe start? Do
Yeah.
you
Well,
have kind of like your top 10 where you can be like, start here? Because I,
yeah.
I need that list.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, the last third of the book is all solutions of
Yeah.
great vetted companies and products to I'm not here to take away the amazing conveniences that we have in the world. I still use a cell phone, but I use it. There's slightly different things that I do with it. It's
Yeah.
always off when it's on my body. I use a sleeve that's got a lead shield on it, so if it is around me, I have that on, right?
Hmm.
So that's tested and everything else. And then, I have a Faraday cage around my Wi-Fi router. All my houses that I'm rebuilding are all hardwired in. I
Yeah.
am not having
Yeah.
a Wi-Fi. And here's one of the things you can do for that.
I mean, I
For
remember when my son was struggling with sleep when he was a toddler, and
mm,
it had never crossed my mind. Somebody said, unplug your Wi-Fi at night. And it hadn't even
yeah,
crossed my mind what was going through my house
yes,
while I'm trying to get this poor little boy to just go to sleep, and instant difference, instantaneously. Crazy.
yeah.
But those are
So
the
think
things that
about
we're
that.
just not thinking about. Yeah.
No, and it's invisible, and that's kind of the
Mm.
insidious nature of it all. Like even, and listen, the telecommunications world is very, very gnarly.
Mm.
I didn't even put 90% of the stuff I read and I researched in the book. I just didn't have enough space.
Yeah.
But what they knew with cell phones, when cell phones started, when we had 1G, even when we created the first telegraph about dirty electricity,
Yeah.
we knew this was biologically harmful. We
Mhm.
knew it. And yet they just keep kicking that can down the road, and they use the playbook of the tobacco industry.
Yeah.
Tobacco industry was successful at saying, "Okay, well there may be some issues here, but then we're like it needs more study." And then they just won't do the study.
Right.
And 40 years people are running around, doctors and researchers saying, "Yeah, it's fine. You're pregnant? That's fine. It won't hurt you." not the baby. The baby's protected in some secret way. Like, so it's the
It's
same thing.
crazy. I mean, that was I think my mom quit smoking when she was pregnant. It's crazy to think about one generation back. One generation. I mean, I remember even when we were teens, we were like, "Did you think inhaling smoke into your lungs, like how could that be healthy?"
Mm,
But just one generation back, that's how skewed our common sense was. And I want people to hear that, because some of the things we're talking about now seem crazy, seem, like, well, we're not gonna quit drinking, sparkling water. It's sparkling water. But these little things. But we did the same thing with smoking
yeah,
back then.
totally. And we did the
Crazy.
same thing. We gave our power over to a
Hmm.
perceived authority that didn't know what the hell they were talking about. The
Yeah.
guy or woman in the white coat,
Yeah.
who to go to them for health advice is insane. To
Right.
go to them for acute issues, great. Like, break my foot, cut my leg on the chainsaw 2 years ago, going right to the emergency room. But I'm not if I have a cough, I'm not going to the freaking doctor. I'm calling
Right.
my functional doctor.
Mhm.
I'm doing the things I know to do. I fast, I take my vitamin. Like, it's we have to turn it's so funny, and I like and I don't like at the same time. Biohacking and all of this stuff. At a certain point, the common sense will rise to the top.
Yeah.
Fill your body full of beneficial electrons. You know how you can do that? So, going back to your original question, what can people do? Take your damn shoes off, put your feet on the ground.
Mhm.
It can get rid of pain for people
Yeah.
because we have electrical pollution that's building up in the body. The earth can not only pull that, it can also up level your beneficial electron field, right? This is all electrical. This is
Yeah.
why when people hear me, they go, that's why they ground uh, a copper rod into the ground for your entire home.
Right.
They
Right.
have to, or else shit blows up.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for you, right? So
And
we
and
have,
like you just said, common sense, but not till
yeah,
you hear it.
right.
Not till you hear it. I'm thinking we walk on the beach every day. We live on the other coast. And how when I think about it, like how that just grounds my soul.
Totally.
There's something about it. I was in the middle of a workout today. My feet were like Charlie horsing, and I like kicked my shoes off in the middle of the workout because my feet just needed to like be on the ground.
Totally.
But we're so dependent on what can I purchase? What can I do outside of myself? What can I take? What can I and
Yeah,
sometimes taking the right thing is good,
right.
but it's it's common sense. And I love hearing you say common sense will rise to the top, but I feel like it doesn't for most people. I had chronic strep as a child, but also as an adult. And it wasn't until I got through my like seventh round of antibiotics
Wow.
and steroids that I said, F this. And I just went straight into fasting and juicing and felt better than I'd felt in 5 years. 3 days, 20, 48 hours. I was like, 48 hours later, I was like, I haven't felt this good in 5 years,
Right.
you know? But it was like under what the world just comes at you with the solutions
Mhm.
that are so toxic.
Well, and this is one I didn't write in the book because it's way too big. But and maybe I'll do a whole thing on this, and maybe I will at some point. Um, the biggest fatal convenience in our healthcare system is our healthcare system,
Right, right.
right? It is not it's rooted in the wrong. Let me say it this way. It's it's rooted in the wrong philosophy and
Hmm.
science,
Hmm.
right? So it's based on germ theory, which I'm not going to go too far into this. I'll keep it pretty edited, but germ theory is essentially the understanding that you're broken and that you're going to catch something and you have no ability to deal with it. So therefore, your body that was created by this infinite intelligence
Yes.
and we've freaking lasted for hundreds of thousands of years, and the evolution of all of that, that somehow now, just because the AMA is created, you're broken.
Right.
Is there a place for plagues and shit? Yeah, but we're not in the middle of one.
Right.
And it's not to blast us with everything. Like you said, 7 rounds of antibiotics, that's like clear cutting a forest and expecting to get fruit from the forest. It's
Right.
impossible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the AMA was built on germ theory. So you catch this, you need a drug to sort it out. Like,
Hmm.
no.
Yeah. We need our
At all,
humanness to sort it out.
yeah, the terrain, we know this through epidemiology now,
Hmm.
right? What you do in your environment, how you eat, how you breathe, how you keep the stress down, how you are with relationships, how what kind of soil your food comes from, you name it, creates your health biome, all
Yeah.
of it. And so think about this. I'll leave it here. The intelligence of billions of years comes by way of bacteria, fungi,
Hmm.
even viruses. We have billions and trillions of viruses flying around all the time.
Yeah.
The intelligence of a bacteria will come into an environment, and if it is not wildly acidic and in a perfect condition for it to thrive, it will leave. I'm
Mm.
saying like a not a great, not a beneficial bacteria,
Right. Right.
like a pathological bacteria. But if it comes into an environment that is eating whatever, the energy's super low, the immune system doesn't work very well, it doesn't have a lot of fuel, it doesn't have a lot of resiliency, it is acidic in nature, like it is a perfect breeding ground. So the intelligence that comes billions of years before
Hmm.
man or woman was created, that intelligence goes, I can live here, I can't.
Yeah.
So if you are a strong, resilient environment, you invite that out
Right.
because it already
Right.
knows that it's not a good place for you to thrive in.
It also knows there's a million other places that it can totally thrive in,
Yeah.
right?
So that
Yeah.
intelligence, so again, we go back to this common sense. We go back to, it makes no sense to not eat well and sleep well. And the leaders of our countries, and I say countries,
Yeah.
the fact that we are not leading with healthy air and water for everybody, and sovereign power and food and shelter, and let's our country was built on being mostly farmers
Right.
growing food. We
Hmm.
literally have over 40, was it 40,000 acres of land. It could be 40 to 70,000 uh hectares of, no, it's, sorry, it's 40 million acres of lawn in the United States that we are watering for no reason other than to border our homes. But you could transform a portion of that. If
Yeah.
everyone transformed a portion of that to fresh food,
Right.
our food sovereignty would be there, and our resilience for fresh food and all of this chemicalized, over processed stuff would just not be needed.
Wow.
So, it's like simple solutions that we are like, but we've become so dependent
Hmm.
on, if I build a house, where's the power coming from so I can flip on my switch?
Right.
Well, there's a infinite amount of ways that someone could create power, but the infrastructure for it is not there for it. Why aren't
Right.
we growing food? So anyway, that's just tons of different tangents, but
I love it
um
all.
yeah,
I love it all. I want to go down every single tangent. Can we go back to what the average listener can
yeah,
implement?
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
first,
because yeah,
yeah, first I would just say, filter your water.
Yeah.
right? So, because there's a lot of environmental and chemicalized things even in the water in almost any area of this
Mhm.
planet. So yeah, it's great that you go to your faucet and you have water there, but the pipes that it's going through,
Yeah.
the interactions, the pesticides, the pharmaceutical drugs that are now in our
Mm.
waterways and even through our trees. So they're not treating water for the other zillion compounds and chemicals
Right.
that are coming. So filter your water. One easy way to do that, distillation unit, or maybe even easier, use an RO system,
Mhm.
and that you can get for a couple $100,
Yeah.
and it forced size of a membrane that doesn't allow those things to come through, so you have fresh water. And then if you want to, I always recommend adding some electrolytes to that
Mm.
unrefined
Mm.
clean salt, or like shilajit, or something like that. But salt, unrefined salt, is incredible to add. So now you give the potentiality back to the water
Right.
through those electrolytes, and through those electrolytes in that form allows your cells to receive the
Mm.
water better. So that's easy, easy, easy.
Yep.
Like you said, the pollution that's all around us, with the EMFs, one easy thing to do: turn off your Wi-Fi at night at the least. You can get these switches. There's a great company out of the UK called Conscious Spaces. There's another company here in the US called Tech Wellness, and they have switches. You can get a timer, or you can get a remote, and just turn it off at night. Shut things down. Turn off that, and turn off your phones. Don't
Yeah.
turn off your phones, or put them on airplane mode next to your. Don't leave them on, and please, please, please don't let your children. I heard this wild stat, like there's a huge number of kids that sleep with their phone under their pillow,
Oh,
and it's just radiating their brains all night long.
wow.
And keep laptops off your lap. Or there's a great other company called Safe Sleeve, where they have, anyone who's looking at this video, there's a sleeve. This is a safe sleeve that I
Yeah.
use. And then on my laptop, I have a sleeve, but I also have it off my lap on a,
Right.
like, I have like a little tray thing if
Mhm.
I am. So just so those types of things you want to stop moving towards. And
Mhm.
then, food, of course. Listen, you know, eliminate the ultra processed crap, man.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, I'm plant-based person. I don't touch that plant-based made up meat stuff. I don't touch
Right.
it. Like
Right.
it's so gnarly and ultra processed. Like, no,
Yeah.
no, whole food, man. Like, go
Yeah.
back to those and grow food and
Yeah.
grow sprouts. Anyone can grow sprouts right now,
Mhm.
right? You can put 2 tablespoons of, call it broccoli seeds, lentils, you name it, but broccoli seeds, put in a mason jar, soak them for 8 hours, just let them sit. Put either a cloth, or you can buy a screw on mesh lid. Easy, easy, easy. And then after 8 hours, you invert it. And then twice a day, all you do is rinse and invert. And in about 5 to 7 days, you'll have a full superfood packed
Wow.
uh, salad of
Yeah.
sprouts that cost you 22 cents, right?
That's amazing.
So those kinds of things, like, and then just you can have tons of those, and
Yeah.
now you have some of the best, nutrient dense foods ever. And then grow as much food as you, if you have a little land, grow as much food as you want, and as you can. And then, of course, support local.
Yeah.
Go to your farmers markets, find your farmer that is growing without the use of chemicals. And then if you can afford organic, um, make sure you really, really wash, especially those fruits and those veggies that are exposed.
Mhm.
All fruits and
Right.
veggies that are
Yeah.
exposed, wash those, to get out any residue, because they
Yeah.
blast those things upon uh, harvesting even more right before harvesting. So it's pretty gnarly. So yeah, man. I mean, yeah, those are a few few
Those are a
things that
few. I got it. I got it all written down. And I was just thinking how crazy it is how we just, it's like boiling the frog kind of,
yeah.
like when I was, so I said my kids are almost 13, 15. When I was breastfeeding my son, so 15 years ago, I remember having enough common sense and awareness to think, I finally can sit and
Mm,
on the couch in this moment while I'm breastfeeding him. But I was like, this feels like I can't be on my phone. Like it
right,
felt so
right.
just at my core, like
Yeah.
that was wrong. And I
Mhm,
remember being like frustrated because I'm like, I finally have time to sit. Like this is when I
right.
need to like catch up on stuff. But I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Mm,
And I think if I had a baby today, that wouldn't cross my mind. It wouldn't cross my mind just because of the
right.
way that we live in the world and the way that we function
Yeah.
with these conveniences, just like you said.
Yeah,
Crazy.
you're right. I mean, we're all born into it.
Yeah.
And so we have to, and listen, psychologically, it's been worked on for a very long time,
Mm. Yeah.
right? It's been worked on like, yeah, you buy water that's in plastic.
Right.
Like yeah, you buy fast food that's wrapped in these wrappers that are full of Teflon derivatives. That's
Right.
absolutely carcinogenic just so your food doesn't stick to it. Like what? Like
Yeah.
like
Oh,
the amount of things that I I know a fair bit about some of this stuff, but when I'm actually starting to read the research, there's just moments where I definitely just have a what the freaking hell are
yeah.
we
Like
doing? Like
it just destroys
y-
your heart on so
yeah,
many
and so
levels.
I guess the thing that I haven't completed it and I'm just getting into it. I have a really strong desire. I'm starting to create a business plan around it to create a safe, vetted marketplace.
Mm.
So
So
how
desperately needed.
yeah, so like think of Amazon, but if Amazon actually vetted clean products
Yes.
and the agencies actually did their job, there'd be no reason to do it, but no one's doing it effectively. And
Right.
there's a lot of satellite, there's some great, there's some great companies out there or nonprofits doing testing and environmental working group. I use them a lot as
Yeah.
resources in the book. Um, what is it? There's a campaign for safe cosmetics is another great one. Like there's
Hmm.
a lot of good stuff, but I want to curate
Hmm.
basically through some sort of membership. Once you open that gate, we've
Yes.
done the work, we've done the testing, we've done the vetting for you only because this stuff exists.
Right.
So,
Right.
like, we have a solution that we're supporting, we're onboarding companies doing great things, and I think that's what I want to do because once people start seeing all these fatal conveniences, we need to have a place to go.
That's
Um,
just it. I think for the average consumer, there's too many roads and paths. You have to go deep and try to I mean,
totally.
it takes a lot of time to research the one thing that you're trying to find. And it's like you said, if there was just I mean, you said it, Amazon, right? It's
Yeah,
like we need it at that level to
yeah,
where unfortunately the average consumer isn't ever probably going to spend the time and the energy, but they still want to make the right choice. So if
yeah,
they can open up a gate and just know that I trust in this and here's everything, let me, purchase from here, that would,
totally.
I mean, that's brilliant and so needed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work, and I'm questioning how much time I have, but
Yeah.
it's all about a team, and it's all about the right people, and it's all about the right mission. And yeah, so it's just a weird kind of Twilight Zone world. I
Yeah.
don't understand it, but I can never understand it because
Hmm.
I wasn't here when it was created that way. I'm
Right.
not on the board of these companies. I don't know what their intentions are. All I know is what's happening
Yeah.
is like very pragmatic. If I just look at it very pragmatically,
Hmm.
these are not safe for consumption. These are not safe to be
Yeah.
used. Like, this is not okay. And so, like, and listen, this book was dedicated to my father because my father in the 90s suffered from chemical sensitivity before it was a
Mhm.
term. Like, he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Chemicals and laundry detergent, soaps and shampoos and colognes and smelly stuff off the carpet or paints. It literally would neurologically fog him out. He couldn't
Wow.
think. And so it's it's only gotten worse.
And don't you think that's happening to all of us on some level?
100%.
I mean, because it takes getting that to be, an acute state where we then seek medical attention.
Yeah.
But long before that,
Mhm.
the just exhaustion, or it doesn't even have to be exhaustion. It can just be the
Totally.
lethargy and the not having complete clarity of your mind. Like, we are all being affected in crazy immense ways.
Huge. I
Yeah.
think it's the elephant in the room
Yeah.
of our modern day world right now. And we talk about, you and I have been in health for a long time. And yeah, people are saying, what should I eat? And what should I do? And how should I work out? But if you are not taking this on
Mhm.
and acknowledging and eliminating the toxic exposure from everyday products and habits, you will not thrive. I
Right.
guarantee it. Like, because this stuff is getting locked away in our fat tissue. This stuff is like, the body's amazing. There's a foreign substance, so it keeps it away from the organs and pushes it into the fat tissue. So then women go, why can't I get rid of this weight? Because your
Mhm.
body sometimes is full of toxins and it's
Yeah.
dangerous for the body to get rid of. And so, yeah, pragmatically, we're all getting hit. You can
Yeah.
just see it. Men's testosterone are in the toilet. Like,
Mm.
the average men's testosterone is going away, and it equals also the inability for sperm to work. And then you look
Yeah.
at breast cancer, ovarian cancer, cysts, all of that stuff is environmental. And
Yeah.
then it further supports itself and it creates emotional states and then it just keeps going.
Mhm.
But this is an invisible, I was going to say pandemic. I hate that term now, but this is an invisible world that needs to be illuminated. And we need to, I was also going to just say fight right there, but I don't want to fight. I want to just wake up
Yeah.
the moms, the people that don't have the time to think about this shit.
Yeah.
And listen, I wish I didn't have to think about it. I wish my dad didn't suffer. I wish all of that. But so if I can create a way that people can start to learn, and it's not to say read the book and then implement everything. You
Yeah.
can literally open that book and just point and start reading something and then go, okay, let's just do that.
Yeah. Start
Let's stay,
somewhere. Start
yeah,
somewhere. Yeah.
let's stay away from the plastic water bottles because that's all endocrine disrupting and
Mhm.
really bad idea. Let's get, he just talked about reverse osmosis, create our own water, get a good
Mm.
glass bottle, and get some unrefined salt. Hey, man, you have better water than 99% of the people.
Yeah.
So, start with those simple things and eliminate heavy metals in the deodorants and the shampoos and the
Yeah.
smelly this and that and and laundry detergents and like stuff like that. Just slowly start to implement a change.
Yeah. I love this. And I keep going back to this new version of Amazon that you're going to create. And I just think there's so many people in the world too that would give, financially
Mm,
to support a business, an organization, an agency that is doing the research and vetting because we don't have all the time.
totally.
So I mean, it just makes common sense. It makes
Yeah.
total sense to me that this is with the direction that you're headed in. And I know it's an overwhelming project with everything you have going on. And we talked in the beginning, the blessing and the curse of these callings on our life that seem just I mean, how do you even do that? But you also are you are the type of person that just can't deny that, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and you just, you start finding more and more when you say yes to this stuff,
Hmm.
you don't know how it's going to turn out. The door's open, it creates other opportunities, but as long as you say yes for to what you know at the time,
Yeah.
and then it creates an opportunity, and you find your tribe
Yeah.
along the way, and then the tribe comes because again, going all the way back to down to earth. I believe in the human spirit.
Yeah.
I believe in that. I believe in this instinctual grace of love
Hmm.
and opportunity and possibility and passion. I believe in all of that. And I know that exists in every human,
Yeah.
right? And so if we just kind of go back there, all the other people that are not coming from that place
Hmm.
will just naturally be illuminated
Right.
because
It's
they're
like
not in
the light and the
alignment.
dark. I mean, it's
Yeah,
that simple concept of, yeah, stepping into the light. It's like
totally.
it just takes over, you know?
Totally. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, literally, I mean, not to be it's such a easy thing and an easy thing to say, but a powerful thing to understand because I get overwhelmed too, and we don't need a lot of people.
Right.
Every morning I light a candle and it lights up my entire place.
Hmm.
One candle.
One
One
candle.
little candle provides light for me and my dogs every day.
Mm.
And that's it. We don't need There's a lot of people that don't have the time or space to dig into all this stuff, so we need a few of us to
Yeah.
just get going on it and create an opportunity, and then that creates a vortex of possibility for
Mm.
people to come to. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm
Yeah.
just in the
I
beginning
believe
of
that
that.
so wholeheartedly, though. It's funny. I always use the word vortex, and my family likes to roll their eyes, but I'm like, it is. It's a vortex, and I believe that one person standing in the light from that place of love and belief in the human spirit is more powerful than 10 million that are in the darkness. You
For
know?
sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And we just have to be careful, myself included. I have to be careful because I like to be aware of what's going on in the world. But if I
Yeah.
jump in too much, it definitely can then it does the opposite and
Right.
it starts
Right.
suppressing me. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because and then we have access to all this information and then how we're getting that information is just more and more questionable. Like,
Right.
I don't know what's true anymore.
Yeah.
you know
I
so
know.
but I do know certain things that are true, and these things are happening and they shouldn't be, and they are, and so let's do something different.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Darin, this has been such a great conversation. I feel like we could talk for hours. I feel like we didn't even touch on
Oh man.
barely anything because
Yeah.
there's just so much. But
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your time, but really, truly honor you for just everything that you've done up until this point in your life and everything that's coming, everything you're creating, everything you're working on. It's beyond admirable and needed. And tell us about the book. When does it come out?
Yeah, so it's on pre-order right now. It comes out May 16th.
Okay.
And yeah, it's all those things that you may think are good for you, and they're really probably not. And
Yeah.
so then just shift your attention over in a different direction so that you don't unknowingly cause yourself harm anymore.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Well, thank you for writing that. I know that was no small project. Oh my goodness. I'll link it all into the show notes. So everything will be below and you can find Darin. I'll link in all your, where they can find you and all that good stuff. But thank you again for taking the time today. I really appreciate it.
right on. Well, thanks for the questions and thanks for your commitment as well to making a healthier planet and healthier people.